Hi, this is Tom DeWeese, President of the American Policy Center, and I have been working around the country teaching people how to begin to organize to fight back against all of these things that are coming at us. And I know that it's frustrating. I know that it's overwhelming for a lot of people, but I believe there is a way that we can do this in a very effective way, fighting back on the local level and the county level, the state level. And it's what I call creating a freedom pod. What's most important here is that we create an infrastructure, a permanent infrastructure from which to fight back. One of the things that happens to us is we get caught flat-footed because we're not organized in that manner, and something new comes down the pike. The other side throws another crazy program at us, and we don't know what it is. And we go, what's this? Where did this come from? What do we do about this? And it takes us time to even get on board to do anything about it. If we have this permanent infrastructure, as I'm going to describe to you, then you can put it into operation immediately and go after it and maybe crush some of these things before they even get a foothold. So that's what I mean by a freedom pod for your community. And most importantly, what I'm talking about is fighting back on the local level, right there in your own community. And one of the things we have to do is keep it simple. Don't try to restore the republic all in one day. We didn't get here in a day. We're not going to get out of it in a day, but don't try to do this alone. And as we fight back on the local level, your city councils, your county commissions, your state legislatures have more power than they know. And from fighting back on those levels, we can push back on anything that the federal level is trying to do to us, coming back to the whole global position that they're trying to put in place here. So this is why it's so important to fight back on the local level. What we need to do, as I said, is build that permanent infrastructure from which to fight and be ready to go. And keep in mind the three pillars of freedom: free enterprise, private property, individual freedom. Those are the three pillars of freedom. So we can fight back on the local level. We can have a major impact on pushing these things back. I call it building a freedom pod. Now, let me tell you how we can build the team. And this can be for city councils, county commissions, school boards, state legislatures, any one of these places, these ideas can be used. The number one thing in building your team is research. Research, you have to know who your enemy is. And by researching, particularly like on the city council level, every community has their own development plan that's being put in place. There are forces that are putting these plans in place, these non-governmental organizations, NGOs, they call them stakeholders. They're not stakeholders. You are the stakeholders, but they call themselves stakeholders. And you will see in the minutes of meetings and so forth, where the city council says, well, we met with the stakeholders. This is the target of what you need to go after. Who are they? Where's their money coming from? Who's their leadership? What have they done in other communities? Another thing to look for in the research, look in the comprehensive plan for your community, and I challenge you, try to find one single word in there about protection of private property. The reason that I focus more on private property issues than anything else is because all of this is based on sustainable development, the environment, protecting the environment, the climate change, and all these bogus lines that they're trying to put in place to get you to give up your liberties on a voluntary basis. And what I have found over the years in fighting this is that private property is the little bit of kryptonite in their plans for sustainable development. They cannot implement these sustainable plans, smart growth, all the other programs they put together with it, without destroying property rights. If you can stand up for property rights, you can stop them. Same thing's true in the education system. You can stand up for your children's rights, your parental rights, and so forth, and make that the battle, then you push them back. The second thing that you need from the after the researchers are what we call the watchers. This is a team of 3 or 4 people who volunteer to go to every single public meeting and just watch and take notes, maybe record what's going on if you can. This is where you're going to learn who the main players are here. First of all, somebody on your city council is probably the main force trying to push these things in place. You need to know who that is so you know who to target. And we get down into building campaigns to get these guys out of office. I guarantee you, if you can get that one leader out of office, the rest of them are going to take a look at you and say, uh-oh, maybe we better listen to these people. The second thing, and as the watchers are looking for, they will see who the main NGOs are, who the players are. So these are very important to have these people there as these meetings are taking place. You need to have people there. Don't do this alone. 3 or 4 people there can going to each of these meetings, they'll begin to learn who the targets are, who's putting these things in place. The third thing to put in your team is what we call the agitators. These are the people who will be your spokesman to go to the city council meetings, the county commission meetings, when they get those 3 minutes to address those looking down on them from on high, to address these issues. And what you can do with these people, the agitators, is they can coordinate their plans. 3 minutes isn't enough time to say anything. Don't all say the same thing. Have each one of them taking a separate point. The other thing you might do with the agitators is not have them all from the same organization. Maybe you'll have neighborhood organizations or something. Give them those names. Sounds like you're much wider in your reach, and that'll be important to them. Another thing, the next point, is the media team. Now, every time I say that to audiences I'm speaking to, people all start to roll their eyes. Our media is all left wing. They won't listen to a word we say. I will throw this out at you. Maybe one reason they won't listen to you is because you don't talk to them. I'm not saying that you have to give them a news release and expect them to publish it or something like that. But what you want to do is start up a conversation, a relationship with them. And don't make it threatening. Don't be accusatory. And just say, have you looked into this? Have you seen this position on this particular issue? Have you considered this? And you might want to ask the councilman if they've considered that, say that to the reporter. And if you begin to show them that you're right, you might be able to build a relationship, and he might, victory is when he starts calling you and wants to know what's going on. Just keep in mind that a reporter for City Hall, that's his beat. And if he starts to attack for no reason, he's going to lose his access for those people. And the other thing is, he's not going to get invited to the annual Christmas party. He's got things at stake here. So you've got to keep that in mind. And but just strike up that conversation, that relationship, and see what happens. The other half of the media team. Oh, one other thing I want to mention on the media team. We have people now across the country who are beginning the efforts to create their own newspapers. This is a powerful tool if you've got somebody who can do this. We have a gentleman in the rural area of Virginia who started in his county putting a newspaper together, reporting on what's really going on. He uses articles from national writers, people like myself, and it's 40 pages long now, and he delivers it to local 7-Elevens, local stores around town and so forth. And when he starts bringing them into the stores, people are now standing there waiting for them because this is the only place they can get this. He has now expanded to 3 counties. He's got 80,000 copies that he prints every month. This is becoming a powerful tool, and you might want to consider that. The other part of it is the social media team. This is a way where you can begin to communicate with other people right there on social media, get people to join you, and you can share information with them. We have a team down in Louisiana that has used this very, very effectively. They were able to show people in their community how everybody is already a victim of these things. People who are victims are much fiercer fighters. They now have over 4,000 people on their social media. And let me tell you something, the other side watches the growth of these social media pages. And if you can begin to grow like that, you can begin to have influence. And then the other thing that we want to put together is working on elections. To get the right people into office is key to really controlling what's going on in your community. And precinct organization is vital. So many local Republican groups and so forth are bad at organizing on the precinct level. All we're talking about here is getting to know your neighbors, people, somebody in each neighborhood who's in charge of getting to know their neighbors and helping get them into the polls, helping them get information out, that sort of thing. You don't have to wait for your party to put together a precinct organization. In your own organization, as you create it, you can do that. You can put your own precinct organization together, and if you get effective at it, you'll have candidates coming to you asking for help. You now will be influencing the outcome of those elections. And so one of the other things that I like to talk about is a tool that you can use very effectively to get the attention of these elected officials, and that is creating a grading system. Take a look at the policies that they've passed, grade them from 1 to 10, 1 being complete tyranny, 10 being freedom's heroes. And where do these policies that they've put in place stand on free enterprise, private property, individual liberty, the growth of government, the size, cost, reach of government, and grade them on that, and then grade the city councilman on that, how they voted for these things. And I guarantee you, if you grade a city councilman as a 2, for example, he's going to respond. He's going to deny that's true. And the interesting thing is that once he has done that, he has opened up the public debate for you. And now you can respond. Well, councilman, you voted for this. This happened here. This happened there. So he's opened up that public debate for you. And it has a major effect on these guys as they're moving forward. They don't want to be graded by you. That'll get you some noise. That'll get you some recognition. So these are very, very basic ideas on how to organize on the local level. Find victims. Victims of these policies can be some of your most powerful voices. And many times you'll find you can recruit people from lower income neighborhoods and minority families and so forth. And that's something to take a look at. These work in city councils, they work in county commissions, they work in state legislatures, as well as city council. So you do these things and begin to organize what I call creating a freedom pod in your community, and you can begin to fight back effectively, and we can take back our communities. And once you do that, if you're successful in your community, other communities will call you and say, how did you do that? Focus on your community, focus, keep it simple. And once you have done, that's why I call it a freedom pod. If it starts to grow in your community and others contact you and want to go with them, then it's starting to grow across the state. And this is the way to do it, one at a time. And as I said in the beginning, don't try to restore the republic all in one day in one community. Take an issue, maybe one issue, and that you're really concerned about, and win on that one, and then you can build from there. Build your freedom pods, and then we're going to take back America one community at a time. Thank you.